All right, hello and welcome to the Super Baca Bros channel and today's stream of Not Enough Time podcast. I am your co-host Angelo, and with me we have Phil. How are you doing, brother?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm kind of enjoying the vibe that you're bringing.
Hey,
Usually you're kind of like a morning disc jockey, like, "Hey, welcome to Too Much Time," or not
you
enough
know
time.
what?
But you're kind of like
It's
more like an NPR, like mid afternoon, like, "Hello, everyone, and today we'll be talking."
I appreciate that. And speaking of which, today's episode is sponsored by Cool Coffee Press. Cool Coffee Press is your coffee that you just want to be cool. No, honestly, I feel like with it being spring very close around the corner, weather-wise and literally, I want to kind of calm down a little bit. Just, bring the vibes down. I was using that high energy to stay warm during the winter, Phil.
Okay.
So now
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep that energy for when it gets too hot. I don't get too overheated, you know?
All right. Sure. I'm not complaining. It was just it caught me off guard. I was surprised.
Also, this is going to be could be a rough stream for somebody, considering the topic that we're going to be discussing. Mom Pa Baka, good morning to you as well. I know that you you definitely have not seen the show. I can guarantee that. Speaking of cold pressed coffee, I got my cold pressed coffee right here. I'm going to just quickly pour me some coffee.
What's
And
going
for
on?
anyone who joins us from the Twitter post and grab themselves a cup of coffee, good job. I got mine right here.
If
Uh,
you've cut some kind of deal with some coffee company on some kind of sponsorship, I need my cut.
Honestly, we didn't make any sort of deal or anything, so you don't get any cut. There is no signed contract, Phil. So you're out of this deal. We had no setup. Modadon, thank you for being here. That's amazing. You watched the finale last week, not realizing it was the finale. That must have been a trip, to be honest with you. You're just like, what is happening here? Is this a video game all of a sudden at the very end? Which is something that I know a movie arts professor in San Francisco, actually Brittany.
Brag.
It's her uncle. What the fuck do I know? He was dogging on it actually because he was like, "Oh, it's a first-person shooter." Technically, that would have been a third-person shooter, but
Nerd.
see Brittany popping up laughing at me. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of things we need to discuss.
Well, maybe we should do a podcast about it.
And here we are. We actually got a few people here. We got Modanon, we got Vashon Craftus, we have Mom Pa Baka. I really want to see what Mom Pa Baka says if she's just watching us. Like, what are we talking about here? Why is that child in danger? Oh God, I need this coffee. Well, how have you been before we get into the discussion? Last night I went out and actually played board games with my partner Brittany.
Hey, what games do you play?
Stop Thief was the only one that we had time because all the big kids were gone, so we had the baby, and we got a good game of Stop Thief in with another person. We stopped the thieves plural. But what about you? What were you doing last night?
I was working, so
Nice.
nothing fun. I don't
Not-
know. It's been a rough week, I'll be honest. Yeah, not my favorite, but I'm here with you now, so it's all good.
I understand we didn't stream Neighborhood RPG. That's my bad. That's why it was probably a rough week for Phil.
yeah.
He
why.
literally he lives off of that stream, and I don't blame him. My voice acting alone is what gets him through the week, and if we don't do that on Tuesday,
I mean, what's the
what
point?
the hell is he gonna do? Yeah, might as well just close up shop.
Let's call it a day.
So yeah, I mean, you got to work though, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, gotta do it.
I actually had Thursday, Friday off as a school bus driver because my kids that I pick up, the elementary and I almost doxed myself. Middle school had like conferences for the teachers and stuff, and it was kind of nice actually. It was really nice. I left Wednesday, and all the high school bus drivers were just mean mugging me as I left.
I mean, two things. To be fair, if someone really wanted to, figure out your whole deal, I think based off what we've given them, it wouldn't be that hard. And two, why would anyone care?
What do you mean? Why would anyone care? There's somebody
Why
out
would anyone
there.
waste their time.
Bruce Willis, the Jackal, is in his room breaking it down. Jack Black in the back.
Wow.
R.I.P. Jack Black. Sorry, buddy. You got done in hard in that
Oh,
movie. No, he's still alive.
I
I'm
thought
just
you
saying
said
in that
real
movie.
life.
No, God, no. He's got Mario coming up. He's doing great.
Casual way to bring that up.
No, I would never just casually say that about anyone, let alone Jack Black. So with all that nonsense out of the way, I think we should get into the meat of what we're going to be discussing here. We have no structure whatsoever of how we're doing this. As the music sort of like gets dark and heavy, I know you can't hear it, Phil.
Well, we didn't talk about it, but I think since we started doing Bowman Gaming, it's made it a little bit tougher, like kind of getting out of our routine. But let me ask you. So obviously they don't kind of use the term, but Last of Us is kind of like a zombie-based story. And I say this not having any idea what my choice would be, but what's kind of your favorite like zombie like TV show or video game or movie?
Wow, that is a tough one. People in chat, please let us know yours as well. We really want to hear that sort of thing. While I'm trying to quickly come up with one, there's one that I definitely just want to go to, and I feel like
go with your gut.
It's Shaun of the Dead. I love it so much. It's just so good, and the way it's just so good. I love it.
I mean, I think too, it's nice. I think more now like horror movies, but especially zombie movies, it seems like in general, for some reason, people are making them in creative ways, and obviously that kind of that pertains to The Last of Us as well. Very unique kind of zombie story. Shaun of the Dead, like that's a really good kind of way to do a zombie story, but it's different from for the most part anything you've had before that.
The question was, what's your favorite? Sorry, Vashon Craftus is asking, what's the question? What is your favorite zombie TV show, video game, or movie? Or maybe book. I don't know. There has to be books. Yeah. I've never read a zombie book. That would be.
I think I've seen books. Yeah, there's some books over here.
You don't know what a fucking book is, you piece of shit.
I mean, I see them. I've been told that's what they're called.
Yeah. Your mother-in-law has the biggest collection of books I've probably ever seen. Yeah, you literally are. Can I just quickly say in the opposite realm, I like 28 Days Later as well as a zombie like movie, like how hard and gritty that one is, and also not the whole movie, but the intro to 28 Weeks Later is one of the most harsh movie openings I've ever seen of any movie, period. I don't know if you've seen it.
I think part of the structure of the icebreaker, you're kind of cutting me off at the balls here.
Were you gonna say 28 Days Later?
Yeah, I mean, come on, man, what the heck?
Hey, I don't know what you're gonna say. I had to get it out.
That's why I was just like, your answer, and then you back the fuck off.
I have the memory of a Northern California high school student, so if I don't get it out, I'll lose it.
I was gonna say 28 Days Later.
That is such a good show.
I'll give some love to the original Day of the Dead.
Yeah, hell yeah.
The one of the movie podcasts I listen to, they do during March. They do kind of their version of March Madness, where they it's like either like best director or best actor, but it's a big tournament where they kind of have people vote, and they kind of take it down to like the one winner. And right now they've started doing movie decades. So they're doing the 60s right now. So I believe it's they've given some love to Dawn of the Dead, which I feel like sometimes.
Is that the Zack Snyder one?
No, the 60s, like the original, like.
Oh, 60. Sorry. See, not even paying attention. Look at me.
I know. Come on, man. I need like something shiny.
Full disclosure. Yeah, you need a clicker or something. Full disclosure for everyone. You can't tell because I look so immaculate. I just literally woke up.
They did not get to see you.
My hair looked like Rockadoodle, the Elvis movie. It was like straight up in the air. It was pretty impressive. So I'm not all there. Fajal Craftus, iZombies. That's a TV show. Seattle-based TV show. That was a pretty good zombie movie where she was a detective. She was not a detective. She was a coroner. Coroner? Wow, I can't say words. A coroner.
Let's leave it at that. That's good.
That's it. We're done. We're out of here. And she would eat people's brains to get see how they died and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they actually filmed some of it in Seattle too.
Yeah, for sure they did. And then there was a not to spoil the show, but there's a portion where they're like, we got to put the zombies somewhere. And they decided to put them on an island near where we live. So every time I pass the island on the ferry boat, I'm like, that's where the zombies are.
See, man, you're just giving more and more information. Like, Bruce Willis is coming for you. And the jackal knocking you there.
I would welcome it. Bruce, come for me, bro. For what you did to Kevin Smith, I'll at you.
You taking him out?
I would like to. San Clarita Diet. I watched a few episodes of that. That was actually a pretty interesting show as well. I always felt bad for, I think it was Timothy Oliphant in that show. I always felt bad for him. He did not want to didn't want to kill people. He really didn't.
You know, you gotta do for love.
And that's true. And that's actually a good way to segue into the show because nice. that's what the show really is about. And not our show. Our show is not about that at all. But The Last of Us, HBO Max. How do we want to dive into this, Phil?
Well, just kind of let me know what you think. So, had you played the games at all?
So that's actually interesting. So I played the first game when it first came out. And then I played a good portion of the second game, didn't beat it. I beat the first one. Recently, I'm replaying the first. Fuck you.
Listening to you, even beat the game.
Hey, man, I got life. All right. You don't got life. I do. I've gone back recently and started the first one again, just because I forgot so much of it. But I beat the first one. Haven't beat the second one. I know how the second one ends, unfortunately.
Yeah.
What about you? Have you beaten it?
No, I've not played either.
Oh, you've never even started it? I love it how I'm looking over here.
Yeah. But you know what? I finish when I start. All right.
Oh, fair enough.
Wind Waker.
You better beat that game eventually, man. Windbreaker is.
You have mine now. I got to find a way to. I'm hoping that they release it on the.
They need to release Wind Waker on the Switch. Yeah. I know you're watching Nintendo.
Yeah. I haven't played it at all, so it was interesting. I think after the fact, I didn't want to have anything spoiled because it seemed like they definitely pulled a lot from the story of the game. But
definitely don't spoil anything for anyone if you know things about the game.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're watching this, I think we're kind of. I don't know if you have the graphic, but this is.
I have the graphic up, yeah.
Okay, yeah, definitely a spoiler talk.
The spoiler graphic. Gotcha. I thought you meant the graphic of the. No, I actually did my job and put the overlay up.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty low bar, but all right.
No, I like it. I think it looks great.
No, put you using the graphic for the show.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, we do what we do. We got life.
But yeah, I went back afterwards and kind of saw some stuff from the game. So it seemed interesting. I think I've definitely missed out on that type of game. Like it seemed like that, and as someone who hasn't played any of these, I might be kind of, erroneously kind of joining some of these together. But like that one and Red Dead Redemption, and it seemed like there's a couple of other games where it's very kind of like story driven, and that's kind of like a big part of the game.
A lot of people say that as far as a comparison for like best more modern games story wise, especially it's your Red Dead 2 versus your Last of Us, comparing Joel versus the main character of Red Dead, which is a fair comparison. They're really great characters, really good stories. Which honestly, this is a good way to segue into talking about the show because, there's people that complained about the last show. I'm not going to name names, but of the last episode in particular. But thinking about back through the whole show, it's kind of interesting because obviously this is from a video game, but it didn't have if you play the video game, there is so much of hiding behind stuff and running out and killing a bunch. There's a bunch of action. It's an action survival game. So the show itself didn't truly have a lot of that. It was a lot of the relationship between the characters and them occasionally doing that. And you only really got that sort of action survivor stuff. Third episode, I think it was, where all that craziness happened. The large horde of the clickers and everything. Fourth episode? Technically fourth, because the third episode was the infamous Offerman episode, which, God, so good. Like,
okay, now you're jumping.
I feel like there's just something so amazing about that. But when you look at the action side of this show, they really pick their moments. They didn't make this a video game until it really needed to be. Hence the very last episode, especially. You had it somewhere else, but I don't know if you picked that up while you were watching it.
Yeah, I think I was kind of surprised. It didn't seem like there was a lot of zombies in the show. That's kind of a something that stood out to me. Was especially not having played the game, I didn't know if that was something where in the game there's not that many zombies or.
Oh, they're everywhere and they're fucking annoying.
But I kind of appreciate that. I kind of enjoyed that it wasn't just like an action like killing a bunch of people kind of show. That was something
that's like Walking Dead. That's why I asked that.
Oh yeah.
If you'd seen this show, because Walking Dead is essentially zombie murder porn, is what it is.
I guess that when you have such a good story kind of in the center of it, it's it makes sense to kind of focus less on what really is kind of at this point, like there's been a lot of zombie things.
Yeah.
And we've seen plenty of zombies get killed. Like that's one of the jokes in what's it called, Zombieland. I guess it was really originally going to be a TV show, and so in the movie they had this the idea of like the zombie kill of the week.
That's right.
Where, like they'd show like some like crazy way that they ended up killing a zombie, but like when it was going to be a show, that was literally going to be like each episode was going to be, oh, here's like the crazy zombie kill of the week. I think we're good on that. But like we've had like it's we've had so much of it, like it's literally like a joke.
Yeah, I like the meta of it. I mean, you know what I mean? I like that. Yeah, that first Zombieland movie was entertaining, but the second one is a garbage.
Well, so how do you feel about the show? Maybe we can kind of just do a quick.
I really liked it. It's interesting the way it worked out because my partner Brittany and I were watching His Dark Materials on HBO with the kids and everyone, which amazing show, great book series. Brittany read that to the kids, and that was wrapping up, and we were like, we don't use HBO that much, let's get rid of it. And then like watching His Dark Materials, an ad came up for The Last of Us. I totally forgot about it, that was going to be coming out, and I was like, we gotta keep HBO for this. I have to see this. And I honestly, it's so weird because it's not a family show at all. Like you really shouldn't. And like the whole family wasn't watching it. It was the three of us, that were watching it. Brittany and our 13-year-old and I. But when you consider like the third episode and other moments where there's a lot of touching relationship stuff, it really became the show that like we truly look forward to watching. How about you?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I'm not a. I don't even know how to say this. I was a little hesitant at first. I mean, I hadn't played the games, so I didn't know. But again, like I do have definitely. I'm not super into death. Like I feel like I have that issue just like even outside of something like this, where obviously death is kind of inherent in what they're doing. Just like stories in general where there's a lot of killing, and I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it anymore. So I was pleasantly surprised. Like it was so well done, and it was really just such a good story about the people. The zombies weren't really what it was about. It was about how the zombies created this new world, and how all the people in this world are kind of having to react and respond to like the world they find themselves in now, and the ways that people find to survive. So I really enjoyed that. That was more the focus of the show.
And it makes me wonder because knowing what the second game is like, and knowing that it's because they announced that it's going to be like the next few seasons will be about the second game. They said that there'll be a.
Is there enough story in the second game for more than one season?
Oh yeah, because the timeline jumps. She's a lot older. Not a lot. She's not like 45 or something, you know, bad back and shit. But shout out to my back. Yeah, seriously. Oh, that'd be so amazing if that character I wish that character from Upright Citizens Brigade would just show up randomly in other shows. Yeah, just everything. So tired of all these offices.
It's never gonna happen, but if we ever had a chance to make movies, like we would put him in everything and just have him say the titular line.
Yeah. That is my goal as a filmmaker. I think that I want that so bad. So the next few seasons are gonna more likely jump. I don't know this for sure, but she'll be older, way more seasoned veteran of a survivor, and also the characters that they're gonna have to introduce as well. There's probably gonna be a lot more action than we had in the first season. Them saying that there's more than one season for sure coming, and also the fact that, you know, she's not going to be a little girl anymore. So we'll see what happens, but I'm excited for it.
It's interesting because I'd seen like articles and things talking about whether or not they might recast her for the next season.
They don't have to. They're 20 years old, non-binary.
Well, yeah, well, you know, there was kind of reports too that, you know, during filming they ended up having to kind of like tape her breasts down, to, you know, make sure that she didn't seem, you know, older. Because I think she's 14 in the show. 14. Okay. So yeah, that's interesting. I'm glad that they announced that there's gonna be more than one season. I have a certain amount of anxiety with these shows when like they're really just kind of like one season to the next, and you know, especially if I really like it and I want, you know, more and more. I'm always kind of certain amount of anxiety of like, oh, is this it, or is this gonna be the last one?
We're having that problem right now. Shout out Vashon Craftus with our animes. It's pretty bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we'll get into a show and it'll be like, no, that's it. And then they'll be like, we're announcing one more season, and then we're waiting for that season. It's like, just give us the shit.
Yeah.
Just say that you're gonna do more, especially when it's super, super popular. But Crunchyroll, what's up? Give us a sponsor.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I'm really curious to see kind of where it goes, especially not having, like I said, played any of the games. And we can maybe get into the ending of the whole thing later. I don't know if you want to save that, but
yeah, we definitely do, because I want to get into what possibly could happen in the future without like spoiling anything.
See, that's tough because you know what happens in the game, and they definitely followed the game in this first season pretty closely. I mean, we can kind of get into it later. Maybe you can kind of think about whether or not you feel like they would, like how likely you think it is that they would kind of differentiate from what the story of the game.
I think there's a good possibility of it. I think that they could do even a slight deviation of things and still stay true to the majority of what the games are doing. Different scenery or different, you know, location choices, that sort of thing. You got to remember that, you know, they went to a couple of different places, Tommy's in particular, that could be a base for them, or they could, you know, totally go away from that and be like, we're gonna like kung fu this shit and just start walking off into the, you know, into the sunset, helping people where they need to be helped.
They could, yeah. I mean, it seems like, you know, Joel's whole thing was very much about wanting to kind of like settle down, kind of find a sense of normalcy. So
he's got to herd those sheep.
Yeah. Yeah, so it'll be interesting. So,
let's talk favorite scene. Let's get into the scene that you think about the most. All right. So, one thing, we're just going to get this out of the way because it's the easy pick, is the third episode as a whole. I feel like that is its own sort of level of just brilliantness. If you want to quickly talk about it.
Well, that's interesting too, because I didn't, you know, I guess I'm not going to keep saying I didn't play the game.
You have, but it's
Fuck,
okay.
I didn't play the game.
Fuck. I hate you.
Well, that episode's really interesting because after seeing it, I kind of went back in to kind of see what things were like, and how they did it in the show is completely different from the game. And so, just having that, because the person who made the game is involved in the show, right?
It's honestly, that's the other thing I wanted to discuss with you about, because I don't know these things. The writing room is the video game writer and one other person. There is no group of people writing this.
Yeah, I think the showrunner, he's the one who did Chernobyl, right?
Correct.
So it's just the two of them, him and the game creator.
There's no other people. How weird is that to you?
I mean, it's like 8 episodes.
That's the other thing. It was very quick too.
Yeah, or what is it? Was it 8 or 9? I don't remember.
I think it was 8.
So yeah, I mean, I think that's maybe nice. A nice thing about it too is that, especially since the other person is the person who made the game, he's coming in with so much kind of knowledge. He's coming in with ideas he didn't use in this story that he could maybe kind of repurpose for the show.
9, my bad, 9 episodes.
9, okay. So yeah, I mean, I feel like it's tough to talk about that episode because I feel like there's nothing else to say. Like, it's literally one of the greatest episodes of TV history.
Yeah.
And it was kind of nicely placed too, kind of a little bit of a break from kind of the main story. For you having kind of experienced that, because the Nick Offerman character is like kind of in the game, like you interact with him quite a bit, and him and Ellie, like I saw people kind of upset that him and Ellie didn't get to.
Yeah, there's some really funny moments where him and Ellie kind of make fun of each other and dog on each other in the game that you don't get to see.
So I mean, even though we got that great episode, like what do you think maybe you would have like missed the most about like having them do it that way as opposed to they did it in the game?
I would say there is some moments where Bill's character just really says some interesting thoughts on the situation as a whole. He's very much a survivor in the show and in the game itself. And so when you see him talking with Joel or Tess in the game, he's pretty straight up and honest about the situation a lot of times. And it's kind of refreshing. Obviously Joel and Tess are very much too, but Bill is brutally honest about, leaving people or whatever it may be. And yes, it is kind of a shame that we didn't get to see more of that. But considering what we got instead is just so damn brilliant in the first place. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of tough. There's a moment in the second game where he's talking about his lover. I don't think he said lover. He said partner or lover or whatever.
Is that where they find him?
Yeah, they find him hung.
Clip. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, he's like hung or something. And that's it. Oh yeah. Dropping dong. That'd be so messed up in the game. He's just no pants.
They have like a conversation scene. He's in the background
just like we hit them on one side of the body in the middle, and he's just like, but all you see is butt cheeks, not the dog. Actually, just the head poking out. That would be amazing. Actually, they need to rewrite that. And, exactly, but that moment in the game itself is actually really touching, and like it hits you. There's a lot of that in the game where like it hits you hard, but except for one moment that in the game, I mean, there's moments in the TV show that have hit way harder than the game. Yeah,
it was really, I mean, it definitely blew me away. My wife and I were joking how, because she wasn't interested at all, because she doesn't do this kind of stuff, but
the zombie stuff.
Yeah, or just like killing and death, and I got her into some mafia movies, but that's about as far as she's been able to go. But she's a fan of Papa Pedro, so she gave it a shot. But
he's got a year. He's got a year going.
He's got it, whatever it is. We were joking that it's probably it's hard for people to find people, and he literally had to trap someone in a hole in the ground in order to find love in the apocalypse.
Hey, that's how it works sometimes.
You do what you got to do.
Yeah. So going back to the original question, then, what is, besides that amazing third episode? Could be a moment, could be a whole episode. What is your episode or moment that you think back on that is, whether your favorite or is it something you think about? Maybe it haunts you even. I
don't know.
That they did so well that you have to think about it over and over again.
I feel like no one thing. That's probably the thing that stands out the most. That episode. That's the interesting thing is that I feel like not much else kind of like stands out, but I think it's a good thing. It's like so much of it, like it's all so strong.
Yeah.
And I think that like for me personally, I really enjoy kind of slowing things down and character moments and like getting to know people. And I'm kind of less interested even just in general with like anything like watching things or like me writing stuff in kind of like the quiet moments. And they had so much of that in this. Like the other thing that kind of stands out is another kind of, what do you call it? Not bucket. I'll look it up. There's a term for like a episode that like doesn't follow the plot line. But the one where it's kind of it's a flashback, and it's Ellie and Riley, I believe.
Yeah, that was what I was going to bring up.
Yeah,
that was brilliantly done.
You talk about that. Let me figure what this term is. I'm trying to think.
You got to get that term figured out. So they kind of like tease it earlier when they actually have the other episode of some action when Joel is like gonna die and Ellie has to kill somebody, and she says, "I've killed someone before," and then doesn't say what it is. And then you get this episode down the line where Ellie, who's living in was it Boston, Fedra? There was Boston, weren't they?
I don't remember.
I think it was Boston.
It might have been Baltimore.
Something B, bullshit, Eastern. Actually, I should be quiet. I don't know if Modanon is still here. My ass kicked by Modanon. But, they're living in the Fedra, city, and have this sort of journey with one of their best friends. And I love the mall sequence so much because they really captured, playing Mortal Kombat especially, like that hit me hard, man. You know how much Mortal Kombat is a part of our childhood. Yeah. And they really nailed it because these are kids that are so much older than when Mortal Kombat came out. But like when they started playing, and they were like, and Riley knew how to play the game. She like, and that's the other thing. How did they know the fatalities? Let's ask about that. That's pretty impressive.
They brought it up though. I think it was like after the episodes they have like the kind of the behind the scenes. I
didn't know that until the last episode. We kept letting it. Wow. We kept letting it. Hey, we were like, it's over. Oh, wow, it's over. And then
bottle episode.
I don't care. What is that? The thing you were talking about. Yes. God damn it.
It's basically when like you have a story and there's kind of an ongoing plot, but you have an episode that kind of gets away from that and
gotcha.
And it goes off on a tangent. Like famously in Breaking Bad, there's the episode where he's trying to kill the fly. That would be a bottle.
I forgot about that. I almost spat my coffee out. I just did a spit take.
Yeah, but I love bottle episodes. Like I would love a TV show that's just bottle episodes.
God damn it.
It's just all tangents.
I feel like Seinfeld is a whole bottle episode show, essentially. Every episode.
Will that be episodic?
Episodic bottle episodes?
Well, they're not bottle episodes.
It's a singular thing if it's a bottle episode?
Well, a bottle episode would be if it's a show that has like an ongoing plot.
Fair enough.
The bottle episode, but like sitcoms are episodic, so like it's every episode is a new plot.
That's fair. So yeah, the Riley, the Riley with Ellie episode was just so brilliantly done and heartbreaking and really touching. It's so hard because I don't know if they were 13. Like Ellie was 13, I think, maybe at that time.
Something like that.
Could have been still 14. I think Riley was older because they were saying that they were going to become like, you know, like at 17, they get their job or whatever it is. And so Riley was going to be like a burn body person. You know, same thing like Joel has as a job as an adult, which is guaranteed one of the worst jobs. I've never smelt a body burning, but having smelled not in my lifetime. No.
Made many mistakes as I have.
Yeah, there you go. You gotta step it up. But having smelled hair burn, I can only guarantee you that's got to be one of the worst jobs ever.
Yeah.
So Riley's like, I'm out. I'm not doing that.
Well, I think
No, thank you.
I thought she was cleaning toilets.
She was, but I think they said that she was going to get that job once she turned 17.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice too because obviously, you know, the entire show is it's a post-apocalyptic world. Like it's a bit of a downer. So, and that's another nice thing about the episode too. Is I think especially at that point, it was nice to be able to kind of get away and just, you know, have like a slight, you know, even though you know that it's not going to end well. You know, having a little bit of fun in the middle of this kind of, you know, sea of dread.
But I feel like they did it a really good way too, because even throughout the episode where you knew it was going to end well and they were having fun, there was moments of like conflict between them throughout because of Riley already being part of the Fireflies and like subtly trying to get Ellie to join her without flat out saying it. And there'd be these moments of like, well, you know, Fedra is like fascist and stuff like that, and Ellie'd be like, what are you talking about, blah blah blah, and then they would continue on throughout the episode, and then finally you realize Riley is Firefly, and she's like, come join me. And Ellie, which is interesting too, because like that episode she kind of realized that she wanted to be an officer or whatever the hell it was, and so there was this conflict between what Ellie wanted in the society but also wanting to be with Riley as whether a friend or romantic interest. I thought they did that really well.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice too because, you know, it really helped propel kind of things forward. You know, the end of that episode was like she was going to leave Joel, and then they cut to this. We got kind of get the flashback the majority of the episode, and then it cuts back to that same moment when she's about to leave Joel. That's when she decides not to. And I think obviously she didn't replay that entire
She's
moment.
Just standing there the whole time.
For, you know, like
please,
35 minutes or so.
Joel's dead by the time she gets done.
You know, that helped to, even though obviously it didn't end well for the two of them. You know, it was still kind of like this kind of reassuring moment. Helped to kind of, you know, like help her to decide to, you know, not give up on, you know, kind of someone she loves.
Even when the situation looks dire and there's no hope, you know, because Joel was jacked up. That was a gaping hole.
There was no way. I mean, obviously, there's lots of stuff and everything that is, you know, not realistic, and we don't need to like push our glasses up and be like, no, actually. But there is no way he would have survived.
No,
just with some, you know, antibiotics.
Penicillin, but there's no way.
Form of antibiotic.
I know, that's what I'm saying though. It was penicillin and some stitching, and that's really and some sleep. That's really. Although, to be fair, that's like probably close as like the video game accuracy, because like if you get shot or break your arm, like you wrap your arm in a bandage, and that's how you continue on. So like, you know, kudos to them, maybe.
I guess, yeah, they kind of stayed true to the game then. That's
a little bit of unrealistic healing factor. So yeah, definitely that episode.
Like, not only does he not die, he goes from like he's through the threshold of death's door. He's not just at death's door. He goes from that to like murking like half a dozen people.
Can we talk about that real quick? When he somehow kills some people, which there's a talk. I'm going to mention this podcast. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, and they brought up a very good topic. But Mr. Sunday Movies has brought up the fact that Pedro Pascal, who has the character of the Mandalorian and the character of Joel, and who would win in a fight between the two of them. And they like at first I was like, this is an obvious, easy answer, but they brought up the fact that Mando Din Djarin is a complete idiot. So they feel like even with his body armor on, that Joel, who is a murdering psychopath, would absolutely murder Din Djarin. And I kind of agree with them, to be honest with you, because in that episode you're talking about where he gets up, he's like on death's door, he kills one person, captures two other people, and then the kneecap blade in the knee, like, I'm not gonna lie to you, I grit my teeth so hard. That hurts so bad. Just watching that hurts so bad. Like, I don't want to mess with Joel. I don't want to be in a dark alley again with Joel. Not good.
It's tough because Din Djarin has so much, like, it's the armor, but it's also like a jetpack and weapons,
a blade that freaking
Darksaber and like laser pistols.
Grogu's off in the corner going like, let me at him.
Well, I think that's the thing too. That's kind of interesting. The new season of Mandalorian just started, and I think what I had kind of forgotten, but was immediately kind of reminded of after watching a few episodes, was just how often he kind of doesn't do well in fights. Like,
it doesn't.
So often he's getting beat up by some like random animal.
Jawas kicked the shit out of him.
Yeah, he's not really a very formidable fighter. So I definitely think that if they somehow could go just like boxers and knives, Joel's definitely taken it. Man, they brought up
the fact that he has literal armor and plot armor, because there are times where he is getting worked, and then there's other times where he works people in that show, and so it's just like, when does this turn on for him? Is it when he's has to protect Grogu and he's like, yeah, I gotta fight Moff Gideon and disarm this guy, or is it up against a bunch of monsters and just gets his ass kicked? He walked right into, I don't know if you saw the second to last episode of Mandalorian, but he just walked into the water and dropped. Like,
what was that? I did not understand that. Was the idea that he just didn't? Is the idea that he didn't realize there was a drop? Because if that's the case, then that's just he's just kind of a dumbass, and he's supposed to be like this person that we're kind of following and rooting for, and supposed to be kind of a badass.
I don't know. We're gonna get into a tangent if we talk about this too much more. But that's the point of.
We're pretty sure our eventual Mandalorian.
Yeah, we will be talking about the Mandalorian for sure. But Joel is a savage who you do not want to mess with, and they nailed that really well, because in the game, because of the situations that are presented to you, you have to be ruthless and a badass. And that's really cool about the game itself, is it gives you different ways to approach humans or clickers, distracting humans, and then coming around. Because like you get a bow or a bow or crossbow, and you could cap someone in the kneecap if you want to, or do all kinds of things. But you got to be pretty brutal, and they capture that in the show.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I don't know if we have kind of the mental capacity for it right now, but I feel like Joel's definitely in the running for like one of the more lethal people just in the history of kind of movies and TV. Like obviously, not talking about like super powered people, but within that kind of like John Wick, kind of like
he would lose to John Wick. He would definitely.
Yeah. I mean, everyone would. He murders like 20 people at once. But yeah, I'd be curious. Maybe we should do that. Maybe that's one of our eventual podcast episodes. Like,
yeah, we should do that. Who wins in and we do different ones. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, we'll rank them, so it's like the top seed against like the lowest seed. And then we'll just go through one at a time, and then just get down to the eventual like no superpowers, just straight up.
Yeah, human
Man
high.
meat.
Yep,
Yeah.
man meat. I like it. All right, let's continue this story.
Well, because we're getting close to 10. So
Yep.
What else is there that you really want to make sure that we get to?
I think one thing that people definitely appreciate, but probably don't talk too much about, is the humor of the show.
Yeah.
There honestly is a lot of moments, and it's not just the puns that Ellie says, or whatever times that Joel gets made fun of, whether by his first daughter, Sarah, his daughter, or his other characters or whatever. But there's some really funny moments in this show, and I think that's honestly really important. Because you go through a show like Walking Dead that is so much dread, and even when they're not killing zombies, it's kind of like, oh my God, why are you guys even continuing? Like, this is horrible. This is not like a life that anyone should live or literally have a baby in. This show really captures some funny moments. There's a scene with two indigenous people in a log cabin out in the middle of nowhere and I love that actor so much. I forgot his name, and I really should have had it prepared, but they're so funny when they go, did you tell him the truth? And she's like, yes. And he goes, is that the truth? The way that he says that, like, there's a implicit history of her probably either lying or bullshitting people, and like he himself is like, okay, I need to know, are you telling the truth? It was really good. I think the humor is something that this show definitely needed, and they picked the right times to do it in.
Yeah, because it's not really jokey. Like, it's just that's a really good example of the humor in the show. It's just it's just kind of like in the moment. It's I think especially like you said, in the show that's so dreary, and if this was real, like if people were in this kind of situation, that would be one of the things that kind of kept them going, would be just finding those moments. I definitely feel like that couple specifically could have their own like spin-off show, because it worked really well, because the whole show would be just them in their house. Like you would just have one location, just them like in and outside of their house. And you just have like random people coming by. It's like each episode would just be them interacting with like a different random person on their way to Cody or the Fireflies or whatever it might be.
Would you make them ruthless and kill like raiders and stuff, or would you just have them only like?
No.
Even let the because raiders would come back and try to kill them.
No, they'd show up and they'd like chain them up or something, and like. They'd
talk their way out of it.
Yeah.
I love that, actually.
Hey, actually, out in the shed, I got a bunch of supplies over there. Go ahead and grab it. And they go in the shed, and they just the shed explodes.
The shed.
And then they're just like, so what do you want to do for lunch?
Oh yeah, and then the wife would be like, dang it, I left my thing in there, or something like that. HBO, what are you doing? Hire us.
Come on, man. We're just printing cash over here.
Exactly. All right. So yeah, humor is definitely something the show does a very good job, and the jokes definitely one of them. The puns or whatever. I really enjoyed the moments where they're talking about like stuff from the past and Ellie interacting with it, music or. Different items in general. I thought they did that really well, and it's something that they're going to have to continue upon as they go through the world that is no longer there. And I'm also really glad that they showed the beginning of the apocalypse happening. There's one scene where I don't know what a mushroomologist is called. But essentially the scientist in what country that was, I forgot. I'm sorry. But she goes to see the body and sees that there's, this is what's happening. And then the military personnel asks, like, because she knows the full situation. She asks, like, what do you recommend? And she goes, bomb the city. Like that was heavy as hell, and she just starts crying because she knows they have to bomb the city because this is going to spread. I'm really glad they did that because it gives you. There's so many people that like they say not even just like zombie apocalypse, but like Nazi Germany or other situations. Like how could this happen? How could it get to this point? And it's good to see that sort of thing to let you know like there was no real way for them to avoid this.
Yeah, I mean, the very beginning of the first episode, did a really good job of setting the pace when they had that, the interview back in the 60s or 70s or whatever it was, where he kind of
the brother from The Mummy,
Yeah. He kind of lays it out like, and I think too, especially obviously this show hits especially hard. We've kind of gone through the pandemic, and it's really kind of perfect timing. And so, like having him kind of explain it on that level, like we're all experts on this kind of stuff now. Like we've lived it. So when he explains on a scientific level, kind of how this would happen, we're all like right there. Like we're okay. Yeah. I could definitely.
That
see
makes sense.
Yeah, fair enough. TPY. I mean, I feel like we need to talk about Papa Pedro.
For sure. Let's get Papa Pedro in.
Yeah. I mean, like this is a tangent, sorry, but kind of obviously endless appreciation for really everything, every actor. They're definitely one of the more well acted shows, and there's a lot of talk about like people getting Emmys and that kind of stuff. Like everyone deserves one. So I feel like I have to at least say that because. It's just so perfectly kind of casted and acted.
Yeah.
But there's lots of love. I was going to say lady love, but lots of lady and man love for Papa Pedro. I'd mentioned that my wife wasn't interested in this at all, but then she had developed a crush on Papa Pedro. So she ended up watching she watched 8 episodes in a day.
Damn, respect.
Well, she's been sick, so she's had time.
Oh, fair enough. Hopefully she's felt better.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know what it is, and I hope to figure it out. But whatever it is, he's got it, and I want it.
I gotta say, there was a interview years back where there was a question about like who's the bigger daddy, and he was like, I'm the biggest daddy. I'm your daddy. He looks at the camera. I'm your daddy. And I gotta believe him knowing. I think he was already doing Mandalorian, I believe. But he obviously this wasn't even announced that he was going to be doing this. But he probably knew that he was going to be doing The Last of Us. He looked at that camera and he knew. He knew he was going to be the daddy of the internet, and that's why he said it with such confidence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's so true because. There was discussion they brought up with like Oscar Isaac compared to him as far as a bigger daddy. And, Oscar has kids and he doesn't. But I feel like he does now. He really does. He's got Ellie. He's got Grogu.
Well, yeah. That's a big thing, too. And I think that, part of the kind of the attraction and the attachment is that, people are watching him in these things kind of, like sacrifice and... protect and like really be that, kind of like the daddy on that level. And I think that's, it's a big part of the attraction. Like he's kind of, it's a very kind of like old school kind of stereotypical kind of idea of what a man and a daddy and a dad is that kind of, kind of the protector and the, that kind of like that brute force.
Shout out to Pedro. He's got it going on. I have not seen the Nicolas Cage movie that he did not too long ago. I feel like I'm missing out. But he's getting everything in. Yeah. He needs like a big movie for himself. He really does.
I felt so bad about the whole Wonder Woman thing because it was such a bad movie and he's not good.
I've never seen it.
It's not good, and his character is not good either.
Did he act bad too?
Yeah, but it's not his fault. Like it's just a bad character. Oh, but again, in that one, his huge part of his story is him being a daddy and doing what he does for a daughter. He doesn't have kids, but he can't get away from this. Kind of what he does on screen.
Well, maybe he'll have his moment. I hope he does, because he definitely deserves it. You know what it should be? A movie with him, Brendan Fraser, and Ke Huy Quan, and like that would be like the ultimate movie. The three of them together.
What's the story of that?
They're friends from high school. They haven't seen each other in years. They have to get together to play D&D, and once they do, they like first they forgot how to play, but the dungeon master that they like hired, because there's this service where you can like it's called Start Playing, where you can hire a dungeon master. He actually like transports them to this like fantasy world, and they have to like survive and get back to their daughter. They all have kids. It's definitely a kids thing, and they become these like badasses, the different classes and everything.
But like in real life, they're all kind of like chubby, like house cats.
Exactly. But there's the different versions of them where, one, let's say Brendan Fraser is, like the health nut guru or whatever, and one is kind of like a nerd. Like, let's say we'll make Pedro Pascal the nerd, and
he's a stay-at-home dad.
Definitely stay-at-home dad, but that's the movie that they deserve.
All right. I mean, I when you first started saying this, I had a lot of doubt for where you were going, but
look at you! Respect.
Nailed it, man. That's pretty solid.
Okay, well, you know what? I'm gonna clip the shit out of that, and I'll put it on the internet, and we'll see who picks it up.
Have you heard interviews with Pedro?
I mean, yeah, I watch a lot of them just for my own personal pleasure. I guess.
I mean, that's too much information, but all right.
Hey, I'll see what I say.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing too. Is he's kind of known for something now. Like he's this kind of like badass, I guess, to whatever degree. But he is the goofiest motherfucker in real life.
Is. Yeah. I was watching him on Snack Wars with Jon Favreau.
Oh yeah,
and they did Chilean food versus American food. God, he is just so good in that.
Yeah, so it's kind of a funny duality. Like he's this badass on TV, but just like this goofy giggling motherfucker.
Yeah, he's a kid. He's definitely a big kid.
Yeah.
I love him. So with that, I think that's what we'll probably end it. If we want, let's go ahead and get into what we're into recently. If you want to pop that out, I can definitely say mine if you're not ready. If you're ready, go ahead.
You can go ahead.
Okay. For me, I bought a new car. I've been working on that like crazy. It's a lot of, I'll be posting pictures of before and after. It's a long project. I'm going to say this right now. It stinks of body odor and and all kinds of things. And it's not body odor. It's just a lot of water sitting in it, but it's going to be really cool. And it's a Volkswagen Fox wagon. And I'm going to paint that sucker orange. And it's going to be badass. It's a stick, which I'm very excited about. I live in the Pacific Northwest, and I don't ever want to drive it in downtown Seattle at all, ever. But besides that, living on the island where I live, it's going to be super fun mobbing it around, and I'm really excited for it. So that's what I'm into. Obviously, family, kids, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. But and that's what I'm into. D&D as well. I'm excited to. I talked to Cyrus because he was at the game night last night, and I was like, we're definitely playing on Tuesday. We gotta, the way that it ended the Tuesday prior with him touching the mimic door, it is gonna be amazing. What's gonna happen? So we're definitely playing this Tuesday. I figured out what's going on with my body, why it wasn't doing so well. Damn school bus seat, like it elevates my legs, so like the blood was just sitting in my thighs. And so I was this last week or the week prior or whatever, the ferries were so late that I was just sitting there for a long period of time, and it was just not doing good things to my legs. So got it figured out.
That's fair.
What about you?
I don't know. Yeah, like I said, it's been kind of a rough week.
Dave said that. Everything okay, man?
I don't know, man. So I won't get into that. I've been kind of getting rid of stuff, actually, if I'm being honest.
Me too.
Kind of like I've had too many hobbies. Like I've kind of spread myself a little too thin. So I've been kind of like just kind of getting stuff out of my life. Kind of trying to focus in on the important stuff more. So my kind of like exercise and kind of movies and screenwriting. Trying to get more into those, get rid of other stuff. Kind of getting into wrestling, like
yeah.
I'm still not kind of. I guess I don't watch any of the shows, but I watch highlights.
I'm trying to get into Defy.
Yeah, where was I? Someone was wearing a Defy shirt
At the Sounders game.
Was it Sounders game? Yeah.
The drummer.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, I thought that was cool. We should go. We'll have to go to
Go to a game just to.
We'll go to a game and then also go to one of their matches.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah,
that's a really great idea.
That could just be us. Like maybe we'll get the big. If we want to, we could get like a big family thing. Because actually, yesterday, Aaron and I were talking about that. Because it was weird watching Sounders. Yeah, Sounders are back. Mandalorian. It was weird watching the Sounders home game, because I hadn't really watched many home games live, because for the first like 7 years I went to every single one, and then I started not going to games, but generally if I wasn't going to a game, I wasn't going because I had something else.
Oh, true. Yeah, like work or something.
Yeah, so it was a little bit of an out of body experience to actually watch a home game. So we do want to go to one, this season or over the summer. So if you're interested, we can do a whole family thing. But if not, that's fine. Yeah, and sports too. I think the Sounders, and then there's like NFL kind of free agency stuff going on. I gotta kind of step back a bit. Like I can't.
I'm kind of shocked that you even brought up that second one. Like,
fuck you.
Dude, I'm not trying to be a dick. Listen.
Yet, here we are.
It's like, I don't know, man. I listen, I'm a Kansas City fan. I'm saying this with all sincerity. I am worried for my Raider brothers and sisters. All right. I am very concerned for the mental health, and I mean I mean that as a whole, not just like you guys, but the people who support the Raiders as a general. I'm concerned more so than even when Al Davis was about to go out, because there is some wild stuff, and maybe we do a podcast about the state of NFL right before the season starts or the draft. I don't know, but the thing is, this shit is getting wild.
The problem is that I think, like, if you looked at it like myopically, and the choices that like the coach and the general manager are making, there are like kind of fair points, and it's not entirely unreasonable, some of the stuff that they're doing. The problem is that they reset every 3 years. So, you have someone come in and they have to kind of, things aren't going well, so you have to kind of reset. Yeah. But there are some good things from the previous. So your hope is that, okay, well, now we have this new person coming in, let's build off what we've done before and kind of like go to the next step. The problem is that they kind of start from scratch. And so, whatever kind of, good things were in place are wasted because,
yep.
They have to kind of redo it the way they want to do it. And it's fair for that coach and that kind of new regime to want to do that. And, it's a good chance that those players that were good wouldn't work well with the kind of new people coming in. But that still makes it tough for the people following the team, because, the little you had to kind of work off of and have hope for is gone. Now you're back at square one.
That's tough. To get out of here real quick, I just saw Neil Druckmann, because we got to get out of here. Neil Druckmann just tweeted 34 minutes ago, no Last of Us on HBO tonight. But season 2 is already on its way. Endure and survive. Everyone, thank you for joining us for our podcast today. Big shout outs to Moderately Anonymous, MTG, Vashon Craftus, Mompa Baka, anyone else who interacted. Thank you. We are going to be back Tuesday at 9. Neighborhood RPG. Got the Curse of Strahd campaign continuing. Definitely check that out. Please hit the follow button if you already haven't. And we will see you next time. Phil, thank you for taking the time to talk to me about this show. I really have been looking forward to it. I woke up very suddenly and I was like, I'm getting on. I'm not messing around. So I'm glad that we were able to do that.
It's such a good show too. Like we're wrapping up, and I'm happy to go. But other things are coming to mind too, like the two brothers, and like there's so much in the show that's just so good. So if you haven't seen it and you're kind of on the fence, like we said, it definitely is not, as kind of like bloody and violent. Like it really is about kind of people surviving.
Exactly. So check it out.
Yeah.
With that, be patient with yourself and others. It's a simple thing you can do to try to make this world a easier and better place to live in. And as always, stay hydrated. Liquid Death, not a sponsor, but shout out Liquid Death, give us a sponsor.
Do it.
Well, love you, brother. Everyone else, we'll see you next time.